Hey guys, what's going on? Lee Keith Carnes here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today we're not doing an episode, at least not in this video, of raw cut, though this is kind of the same raw cut formula. It's raw, no editing, etc, etc. This is a video that I've been planning to make all year long. It's a big one that I wanted to get out there for you guys because I've had people request it. Sorry, I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm kind of pressed on time to record, so I didn't have time to look it all up who requested it. But if you were a person that brought it to my attention earlier in the year and said, hey, do a video on this matter, thank you very much. Know that I really appreciate it. Now last November to be exact, I did a video talking about Eddie Guerrero's 10-year anniversary since his just devastating death. You know, I paid tribute to Eddie. I was a huge Eddie Guerrero fan, and we wrestling fans, myself included, of course, miss him like crazy. So I felt it was just. This is the same situation here. I've always been a Chris Benoit fan. I still am a Chris Benoit fan. I know that may not... My beard's being weird. I know it may not be the most popular thing from the outsider's viewpoint because people say, oh, you're a fanboy, so you ignore what he did in his final days, or supposedly, if you want to be one of those people. But today marks 10 years since the Chris Benoit family tragedy, the Benoit tragedy as it's most commonly referred to as. I'm recording this on the 24th, but I'm uploading it on the 25th. The reason for that is because I wanted to make sure I could get a video out. I'm not sure if I can record on the actual day, but 10 years ago today, the murders were currently happening, and Nancy was already deceased at this time. I believe Daniel at this time was deceased, so at this time, 10 years ago, Benoit was technically still alive, but I'm just going to record this a day early, so not that it really matters, but hey, I like to get the facts out there. So the biggest thing I want to talk about is just reflecting on it a decade later. I remember when it all happened. I mean, I remember where I was. I remember what I was thinking. When it first came out, I always used to go, still do to this day, used to go to the dirt sheets, aka wrestling websites, news websites, most commonly. I'm going to do a little plug here, though I'm not getting paid for it. Wish I was. But I go to WrestleZone, and I'm pretty sure that's where I went 10 years ago when it was breaking news. Chris Benoit and his entire family found dead. And in the beginning, everybody was talking about a gas leak, a triple murder, and then some people, including myself, were even thinking, well, maybe Nancy killed Chris and their son. Not once, including myself, did we ever think that Chris Benoit himself was responsible for the atrocities that were committed over that 2-day weekend. Well, no, that 3-day, because, yeah, actually, I think he killed Nancy on Friday. Yeah. So, with that all being said, when everything started really coming out to light, it was just so devastating. Like, I was in disbelief still to this day. It's still, I mean, when I watch wrestling, it will randomly pop in my mind that really happened, you know? And it's such a surreal thing. I really like, I don't like to, but I really want to compare it kind of to the 9/11 attacks from 2001. And what I mean by that is it was so similar in the way you look back on it. You're just like, wow, that is just so surreal. It just doesn't seem real that something that crazy and bad could happen, and not only could but did happen. And it's just crazy. The year, you know, when I first heard about it, I thought, like everybody else, I thought Chris Benoit was just a bad person. We didn't know about his true self behind the scenes, and then he was this vicious murderer. I had a calendar up, and this is eerie. Just a coincidence, of course, but a really eerie coincidence nonetheless. I actually had Chris Benoit on my wall in 2 places. I had, the one that's eerie is I had a wrestling calendar on my wall, and he was doing his diving headbutt move on someone, and I remember covering up his pictures in my room because I felt, oh, you know, he's a bad person, I shouldn't be leaving him up on my walls. So that was that, and then a little while later, I can't remember about how long, I think a few months after it, everything really started coming out that Chris Benoit had extensive brain damage, had a lot of stuff really wrong with him, and that's when I really realized that Chris Benoit wasn't a bad guy. Chris Benoit was a victim in this as well. His whole family was a victim to his mental state. And that's when I realized that, you know, sitting here and blaming Benoit like so many people have and still do to this day is not a reasonable look and approach. I love the world of psychology, and I love to look into what makes people tick and what happened to people. That's another reason I'm so obsessed with the Columbine massacre. It's not that I worship Eric and Dylan. It's not any of that kind of bullshit. I'm just interested in what was going on in their mental state that made them commit such a horrible crime. And the same thing here. What could have made a seemingly loving and devoted husband and father kill not only his wife, but his 7-year-old innocent child? I mean, that's some very heavy stuff, and there had to be something seriously wrong with Chris Benoit in his mind. And as it turned out, there was. He had insanely bad brain damage. I mean, you know, I made a video actually a few days ago, as of this recording, talking about the misconceptions of Chris Benoit's brain damage being compared to that of an Alzheimer's patient's 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient's brain. And people saying he didn't have Alzheimer's. They didn't say he did. They said it was comparable. You need to fucking read. But that's another video. You should go watch it. I kind of went on a little rant there, but hey, I think it was justified. But looking back on this, it's just really sad. There will never be another one like Chris Benoit, just a tremendous athlete. I mean, I still watch his matches on the WWE Network, and I still get blown away at what that guy could do. Chris Benoit was one of a kind. There will never be another Chris Benoit, just like there will never be another Eddie Guerrero. They were just two very unique guys that we'll never see again. You know, Nancy was very talented in her own right, playing woman in ECW, and then I can't remember her name, but she was also in WCW. That's actually where she met Chris. And very talented woman. Just so sad that, you know, she was a victim of this. And then, of course, Daniel. We can't forget about Daniel. 7-year-old boy. I mean, I could not imagine that. And I remember thinking, like, when my nephew turned 7, I remember thinking to myself, wow, that was the age that Daniel was killed by his own father. I just couldn't imagine. But I have a healthy brain. I don't have a decrepit brain that Chris Benoit had. So I can't really judge when he has that kind of brain damage. That's just how I feel. But anyway, guys, this is kind of a dark topic, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I just wanted to pay my respects to the three of them. They're all sorely missed, all three of them. I feel that Nancy and Daniel are definitely horribly overshadowed in this tragedy, and for obvious reason. I mean, Chris Benoit was the famous one out of the three. Nancy never had the success of Chris Benoit, so, and then of course Daniel was just 7 years old, so. But I just wanted to pay respects to all of them. I hope, whether there's an afterlife or not, we're not going to get into all that shit, but I hope wherever they are, they're at peace, and I hope that someday maybe we can get more concrete information on this case and maybe be able to accept Chris Benoit's condition as being out of his own hands. That Chris couldn't have stopped himself, even if he tried, and I'm sure Chris Benoit never pictured himself killing his family and then himself. I don't think he ever did. I really don't. So anyway, guys, this is the Keith Carnes. I hope this is kind of what you guys wanted for those of you that requested it. I did my best. Just wanted to kind of spill my heart out about how I feel about the whole tragedy. And that's about it for me. So, as always, you guys, thank you so much for subscribing. And you guys take it easy.